Obviously, as we know, AI has taken over not just a product design space, but also literally any business space that we're moving in. You'll see a sort of form of AI. It's not necessarily a new thing, but it's now a big thing that's obviously taken the world by storm. And especially in the product design space, we do a lot of things manually, and it has always been a very manual process. If we think about sort of user research that we need to do, the physical designs that we need to do, design system setup, having to do handovers with the devs, and there's always been this sort of gap between design and development, and trying to bridge that sort of, let's call it that, the language gap from design to development. And now with the AI tools that we have at hand and the new advancements with it, you can now simply upload a photo of your design, and AI can now quite accurately design an interactive prototype of your sort of design that you've just designed. So it's a very useful tool, in all honesty, to utilize within the product design space to sort of bridge that gap. And we can look at tools from a starting standpoint, tools like Relume, where it's mostly used for websites. But in all honesty, it's an excellent tool if you just want to set up information architecture and get that drop down list and just get the foundation going. Now, I'm not saying AI should replace everything that you're doing from a product design space, but I definitely see it as a way to obviously save time and perhaps set up a good foundation, because I've picked up myself that AI usually thinks of something a little bit differently than I do, especially if you're the only designer on a team. It's like having a teammate that you can sort of bounce ideas off of, or someone that basically just does the grunt work, and you can go in and take the shine for it.
Thanks, Aldo. We don't need you anymore. We'll use AI from now on.
That's
But I guess
fine.
these are kind of these are the tools that we've dreamt about, really. I think, years ago, just, knowing that this, as you say, so much grunt work,
Yes.
that, how efficient can you be as a designer? It doesn't necessarily take away the sort of creative space, because you always had, website templates and things, but it does allow you to just shift through all the time consuming work, as you're saying, and get to design a lot quicker and start, working with base designs and wireframes, which is really useful.
Yeah, 100%. And user generated content in general is obviously making like a massive leap as well. From wireframes, you can now also obviously go into high fidelity very quickly. But not only that, is you now have the capabilities where you can actually prompt the images that you're looking for, because especially in website design, you always start obviously with a first draft, or wait for content from the client or something in that sense, and then you just put like a stock image there. Now you can actually sort of prompt something very, very cool, or prompt exactly what you need, and that can almost be your final result. So it can move you very quickly through the draft as well, which is quite cool. And then obviously touching onto that, from going from the drafts to, as I mentioned previously, bridging the gap to development, is we now have tools like Cursor and V0. Those are tools that I use. I know there's a lot more in that space, but where you can simply sort of go in, upload your image, and you can prompt the interactions that needs to take place. You can prompt certain animations. You can even, on Cursor, you can bring in a design system JSON file. So you can bring in your whole file and it will code what you have, and you can basically give that to a developer as foundational item. Cursor is mainly used obviously to support devs, not replace them. So you'll still need someone with that skill, especially for very complex systems. And I think that, touching onto that, we now have the capability with the AI tools to go from 0 to 1 very quickly. And the big thing connected to that subject is that, especially in the startup space and sort of your pitch decking space, where you go and pitch to investors, the pitch deck itself is now almost a sub to your MVP, because we're now moving into an MVP state of product development, because everyone now has the capabilities to go and test their ideas, sort of get some sort of visualization, and then get someone on board to do that. So it helps with getting your foundation up very quickly, and then obviously getting the right team involved